What I have got to do today is give myself a reason to get rid of that garlic, to get rid of this blackberry bush, because if I leave them in any longer, the whole sowing thing is going to take over. And so I've given myself a project as to what I want to do with this bed, which means that these will have to move to make space for it. But what I'm going to do is something I've never done before. So plenty of other people have, but it's going to be all new to me. So I'm sorry, I'm looking over there, I'll tell you in a minute. It's going to be all new to me. So that's something I'm quite excited about. I've also got, at the end of last week's video, I showed you a picture of 5 crops that I have never grown before, let alone eaten before or seen before, and so I'll be showing you those a little bit later on and telling you exactly what they are and what I'm going to do with them. But yeah, I want to show you another little thing that's just outside the greenhouse, and then I think I'm maybe just going to surprise you about what I've actually got going on in the polytunnel. So stick around and we'll get started. You might remember a little while ago, this trug was being offered for free. Is it a trug? I think it is, a planter, whatever it is. And so Mike, bless him, went and picked it up, and it's been in his polytunnel right over the winter with the intention that I was going to paint it. I never did. That's something else. If I don't do it straight away, I always intend to do it, but it sort of gets moved to the bottom of the list. Anyway, we had to move it last week, as you'll have seen, because the peach tree has now gone in the polytunnel. Do not worry, if you are one of the people who was worried about some of the branches going through the actual polythene of the polytunnel, it's fine. It's all been pruned right back. It's absolutely fine. Once it's tied in, it'll be fine. But yeah, so it gave us the excuse. We had to move this out. Mike, bless him, before I knew it, before I chose the colour, he has given it a paint just to waterproof it a bit. And it's just fantastic. Hold on. The beauty of this is it's right next to the greenhouse. And to be honest, it's not a heated greenhouse, I've said many times, but I like to think that this will almost be a transition. It's a cold frame basically between the greenhouse and the table that's just behind me. But so far what I've done is a load of the dead flower stalks. You know what I'm saying about leaving them over the winter? It's another great reason, because they are completely dead at this time of year, so they can be used as a filler. They've been put in at the bottom. And then what I've done here, this is just spent compost out of big old plant pots. So I think these plant pots had kale in, and some of them had some tomatoes in, spare tomatoes, and that in itself is just acting as a bit of a filler. So I'm not going to have to spend oh look at that, I'm not going to have to spend an absolute fortune on compost, although I will. I think it'll have a bag, maybe 2 bags of decent quality compost on the top, and then it can be used as like I say, either as a cold frame to protect things before they go out, or it'll be brilliant for growing salads and things right through the summer. So it's been an absolute win-win. Okay, I'm going to lift this garlic once and for all. I have replanted the ones I dug up last week. Oh, these have got those wood avens growing right round them. I wonder if I'll get them without snapping them. And I've offered these to Mike. As you might remember, we're doing a bit of a challenge. He's doing his garlic in pots, and I'm doing mine in the ground, but we've both put extras in that we weren't expecting now, so one of us should get some garlic. Okay, once they're up, it's actually going to give me what? This just shows how far out that blackberry was coming, so we'll see to that in a minute. Right. Oh, I've nearly gone through the base, but they should be okay. Let's have a, yeah, they're fine. They're fine and dandy. There we go. Unexpected garlic, pre-sprouted and ready to replant. Right, that is absolutely brilliant because that has given me a huge block of space there, although I do want to have something else growing around this side of the arch. I don't know what to do with this arch, you know. It was originally one of those very, very cheap and not very cheerful green metal ones that just sort of rotted in the ground. But actually, to replace an arch is quite expensive. If you want to get one that's not going to rot after the first couple of years, it's quite expensive. So one of the ideas I thought was, should I paint it? And so today we were at a famous paint shop and I looked at the price of outdoor paint and it was £30. And again, I just can't justify £30 just on paint for an arch. So I'm looking at it again now and wondering whether, I don't know, I can disguise it in some way, maybe get an evergreen around it, or maybe just build a new one, or maybe just do away with it altogether. I don't know. What would your advice be on what to do with the arch? Because at the moment it's a bit of an eyesore. All I need to do now is find somebody who might be interested in adopting a giant thug of a blackberry. Hey, there we go. Lucky, lucky man. Right, as soon as I show you what I'm excited about, you're going to know what it is I'm going to do, because hello chooky dukes. Okay. It's a bit of guttering, and what do gardeners do with bits of guttering? They go, oh, that'll be fantastic because I've got something really, really special I want to sow in there. Not that I've ever done it before, but let's go into the polytunnel and I'll show you the lovely surprise in there and show you what I'm going to do. Okay, before I open this door and just blow you away with what is inside, I just want to put it into context because I think you will agree that the inspiration out there in social media at the moment is just incredible. People have got their crops growing. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it, you know, in 2 weeks' time someone will harvest their first tomato. Whereas, in a refreshing turn of events, come and see what I've got in mine. Absolutely nothing. I know that's a bit of a tease, and it's not to say I haven't got stuff going on in the greenhouse. In fact, I've got broad beans in my greenhouse coming up. I think that's about it, and everything else is just on the kitchen table. But I haven't been sowing in the polytunnel yet because at night it has still been, well, this says minus 6.3, but I think I haven't reset that for a week or two. But it's still been getting down to freezing, if not more, during the night. But it is starting to warm up again now. So this is going to be my first lot of sowing in the polytunnel. I'm actually going to be sowing these peas, which have been here so long. They were put up here, I think 2 years ago, just to stop the mice getting the seed. I think actually it's when we had the chickens over winter in here. So yeah, it'll be 2 years ago. And they've been hanging here ever since. And to be honest, they've just become part of the furniture, so much so I can't undo the thing. But I know that they are alderman peas, which are the fantastic old-fashioned reliable. And, oh, there's a couple on the floor. Yeah, what can go wrong? I mean, they look okay. They haven't sprouted, they haven't withered more than a pea normally withers. So I'm going to have a go with the old sowing the peas in a length of drain pipe, and then they all grow up absolutely beautifully. So all I need to do then is dig a little trench in the bed that we've just cleared and slide them beautifully out of the thing. Rocky has come round to that door to try and get in. Rocky, go around the other door. The other door's wide open. The other door's wide open. I don't know. Bless you. What are you like? Come on. Okay, let's get started. I'm not even going to bother cleaning the guttering because it doesn't really matter, does it? I don't think it does. And I am using Mike's Good Gorilla Tape. Shh. So, yeah. What I do know is we've got to put something on the ends of the guttering to stop the soil coming out. Oh, actually, this is only shallow guttering, so it should be okay. Now, from what I'm aware, you don't need to put holes in the guttering as such. You don't need drainage. Shout at the screen now if you do. I won't hear you, but it'll make you feel a bit better. Okay, I'm sure you'll put it in the comments below. And well, this is all you do, apparently. I'm just going to half fill it with compost. This is from last year, so I'm hoping it's going to be okay. It's only to start them off. It's not gone waterlogged or anything like that, so it should be fine. I have not forgotten that I've promised to show you my weird and wonderful vegetables for this year, but I'm going to get this done first because I can show you them in the kitchen, whereas it actually looks like it's going to start raining down here. So let's just get these in and it'll be another thing to look forward to, because that's it, isn't it? That's the brilliant thing with sowing from seed. And I know a lot of us buy plants as well, and that's absolutely fine. I think there is a bit of snobbery involved, and I'm probably one of the worst for saying it. But when you do sow by seed, there's that magic moment of realising that something that you've sown has actually got life in it, and it's actually going to grow. So, well, I hope so. Anyway, there we go. Will that work? Is that end bit going to work? Okay, I think that's all you need. Is that about half full? And I'm certainly not going to be doing, if I'm going to get into doing this regularly, because this will be the first of some successional planting with the peas, I am not going to be spacing the peas out to the recommended spacing. These are just going to get tossed asunder like this, and we'll see what happens. Oh, I meant to water. Jane. This is it, you see, because I'm talking at the same time. I told you before I can't multitask. Give it a bit of a water first. And again, it'd be good if I had my little spray feature thing on the bottom. You can see there why you water first, can't you? Because once your water and the peas are in, they tend to float. Okay, first time. Oh, okay, you can guess where these are going to hang again, can't you, until the next time. These will be left in here now for sowing in the polytunnel. And yeah, if they don't come, it doesn't matter because we are in the first week of March. Ooh. First week of March, so there's plenty of time. Like I say, this will be the first lot of some successional sowing, so it's a bit of an experiment, but I did promise that I would show you the weird and wonderful vegetables that I have got for the allotment this year. So let's pop back to the kitchen and I'll show you what I've got. Right, I'm back in the kitchen with a basket full of promise. Because just as I teased you with last week with that picture, I have got here a basket of things, as I keep saying, that I have never grown before. Now, I did realise when I put the ginger on the picture, I did start to grow ginger last year, but it just didn't come to anything, which was my fault completely, because I think I'd replanted. It was grown okay here in the kitchen, and then I took it up to the polytunnel and put it at the bottom of one of the arches. Forgot about it, weeded, pulled it up. So this year it is time for the ginger. But also what I've got in here are things that I had to look up. We were told what they were in the shop. I've heard of some of them before, but well, let's just say, for example, if you got this right when you saw the picture, well done. This is actually turmeric, or as some people call it, turmeric, which is one of the big, health foods of recent times. So we've got, I mean, of course you can just buy it like that, can't you? And why would you bother going to months and months of bother of trying to grow it yourself? But that is going to be grown in a very, very similar way to the ginger. And again, it will just be interesting to see what happens to it. So that and the ginger, I'll start them off in a minute and show you. Then I have got these precious, precious jewels from Claire over at the Farmyard Garden. I've mentioned these before, and these are the ochre, not to be mixed up with okra. Okay, I think some people call it ochre as well. I'm just calling it ochre. They will be going in after last frost, so probably around about May time. I'll be planting them directly into the soil. We have got your good old sweet potato. Now again, we did try sweet potato last year, but we started it very late, and although we got a crop, it needed a lot longer. So we have already started our sweet potato off, just like we did last year, in a little jar here with little arms, little cocktail stick arms, bottom bit in water, and you'll find that these then start to root, which then produce slips, which you can plant separately, much like you would with a potato and potato chits. You can do that with that. So that is underway. But then two of the things, I mean, well done if you were able to tell me what that was. Taro is the dark one, and Edo is the light one, and these are, well, they're root vegetables. They're one of the oldest root vegetables, much like the ochre. I mean, the ochre one, I've been looking into it, that goes back to Incan times, but these go back about 7,000 years. So it just goes to show, I have never heard of that, but that in the past has been such an important vegetables, and in many parts of the world still is. I mean, ultimately it grows well in swampy, marshy conditions, so you never know with our British summers. But someone mentioned, they said, why on earth are you growing things that, you've got no idea if they're going to work? He looks like a little coconut. You've got no idea whether they're going to work or not. Why is it worth the space, the time and the energy? And I would just say yes. If nothing else, the Edo and the Taro can grow into really large leafy houseplants. Now, that would be interesting in itself. Who doesn't love a houseplant? So I might grow them just for that, but we shall see. They will need to go in some nice, rich compost in a warm environment fairly shortly. But again, I'm not going to go into planting them all today. I'll talk more about them in a separate video when I do them. If you were to buy this in one of our well-known supermarkets, unless it is specified as organic, there is a likelihood, as with the ginger, that it will have been sprayed with something to stop it shooting. Okay, but I am hoping that this will be okay. I'm also hoping it's also going to fit into this little tub. I didn't realise quite how big that ginger is. Of course, you can buy ginger at garden centres, etc. But what I want to do here, if you look at your turmeric or your ginger, let's take one back out again, it will have, again, much like potatoes, it will have I can't see any on this one. Look, these might have been sprayed. Yes. I don't know if you can see here. It's got a tiny little shoot. And if that is all that comes, that will be worth it. But these little knobbly bits here should also start to produce shoots. Now, again, it may have been sprayed, but it is such an easy way to find out before you go to the hassle, if it's a hassle, of actually putting it in some soil and waiting for weeks. What we want to do is just put them in a bowl of water. Apparently you don't cover them all the way. You leave the tops sort of bare, but you need to make sure that the tops don't dry out. They do look fairly dried out. So what we'll do, we will revisit these in a couple of weeks and see if they're actually doing anything at all. There might be a difference between the ginger and the turmeric, but we shall see. If you want to follow along and see how well we get on, press the subscribe button, but not just that. I've been looking at the analytics quite a lot recently, and I've noticed that a lot of people who are subscribed aren't getting notifications. So do make sure that if you press the subscribe button, press the notification button as well, and that will give you an alert to tell you when the next video is out. And come on now, we want to see if these work or not, don't we? Okay, that's it for now. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Fingers crossed that all these things work, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.